today's morning session is comprising of two parts, articulation and pronunciation, and we will be also doing exercises, especially in the post-T session. And we have with us Dr. Archna R. Singh, who is going to engage this session with us. And I have requested all the nodal centers to kindly make sure that every participant is there in this session, because I feel personally that out of all the sessions, although all the sessions are important, this session is very important for all the teachers, especially my friends who are from English and communication skills teachers at the various nodal centers in the studio also. They will be highly benefited by this session. My dear friends, let me give you a brief introduction about the speaker. Dr. Archna R. Singh is the immediate past chairperson of the, she is again chairperson of the School of Communication Studies at Punjab University, Chandigarh. And she has been teaching at Punjab University for the last more than now 16 years. Dr. Archna has been a gold medalist throughout her career and continues her academic endeavors as part of her career, having to her credit a book, 21 national and international publications, and 47 presentations in various seminars, conferences, and various platforms. Presently, she is the National Fellow of Indian Council of Social Science Research and is studying the new media. She is a multifaceted personality, having served as warden of a girls' hostel at Punjab University for 5 years. You can imagine the interactions and the communication it requires to be a warden of the hostel. We have 2 children at home. How difficult it is to manage and to manage the girls' hostel. I mean, and she has been also, she continues to be cultural coordinator for 2 years at Punjab University. She is the colloquium coordinator for Punjab University, organizing one high-profile talk every month. And I get to know about her talks, which she arranges as a colloquium coordinator through the newspaper, which is a very wonderful activity for any university. She has been associated with the production of 8 documentaries in Punjab University, prepared by the university, and has given her voice over the same. The background voice over the documentaries is given by Dr. Archna R. Singh. Under her leadership, the School of Communication Studies won its first award, known as Chanakya Award, for mass communication education in 2011 and 12. In this award for leadership in journalism education in 2012 and 13, the Rotary Club of Chandigarh has honored Dr. Archna with the Hamari Beti Award for her efforts towards women empowerment through the use of radio. She is a regular visitor to the radio also in 2013, and Women of Action Award by CII, Confederation of Indian Industries, in 2015. She works actively to promote the culture of research in her subject of mass communication in the university. She is the member of advisory board of the World Center for Academic Excellence and Research, advisory board of the Global Media Journal Indian edition, member of the editorial board of the Journal of Communication, among many others. She is a regular invitee on the All India Radio and conducts workshops on pronunciation and articulation for the new readers and the announcers and the anchors, RJs. My dear friends, the list is very long, but I don't want to come between you and the speaker. I will now request Dr. Archna R. Singh to kindly engage her session on articulation and pronunciation. She's going to touch some aspects of phonetics also in this, but this lecture is not on phonetics. That is not required by the teachers also. What is required is your articulation and pronunciation. But she will touch upon some aspects of pronunciation, phonetics also.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Good morning. See, the first question that I'm asking here, if you look at the slide, the first question is, are you being heard? That's my first question to you. As teachers, when we speak, Our main objective is that our students should pay attention to us. They should listen to us. And here we are together over here in this session, not because we don't know how to speak, but because we know how to speak. Everybody knows how to talk and how to speak because we were taught that when we were little children. But we are here together because we want to learn to speak well. We want to learn to speak in a way that we are heard. So if you are being heard, then that's fine. That means in a gathering, in a group, in a classroom, at a meeting, wherever you are, when people are together and everybody is talking, at that moment, when you start speaking, do people stop and listen to you? Or do they continue to talk? Now that's the situation. Imagine that situation in a meeting where people are talking and you want to make a point. What do you have to do? Just start speaking? Or do you have to tell everybody, keep quiet, I want to say something? Do you have to nudge people? Do you have to raise your hand? Do you have to stand up in order to be heard? If you have to make all those efforts, then there is something which is lacking in your speech, that you have to stand or you have to wave your hands or you have to do something like that so that people listen to you. So my first question is, are you being heard? If you are being heard, that's fantastic. That's marvelous. But if you are not being heard, and only you know, I don't know, only you will know inside your heart what is the reality. Okay, so if you are not being heard, there can be three reasons, as mentioned over here. One is that you may not be speaking loudly enough. If you're not speaking loudly, that's easy, that's very easy to take care. You can walk a few steps and go closer to the audience. You can speak louder. You can use a mic. You can do something to, help yourself over there if you're not loud enough. But if you are not articulate, then there is a problem. Articulation is how you are able to put into words the ideas that you have. So you may be having fantastic ideas and lots of thoughts in your mind, but if you're not able to put them together, string them into some cohesive sentence, which is intelligent to hear and impressive to understand, if you are not able to put it together, then you are inarticulate. Or you may not be pronouncing your words well. There must be something wrong with the pronunciation, that it is not pleasant to the ears. The way you speak, maybe you have good things to say, maybe you know how to put it together, but you're just not saying it in a manner in which people want to stop and listen. Now, as teachers, it's one of the sorriest things I have to say, that teachers are speakers who are least bothered about speaking. We think that we need to be scholars. That's true. Teachers need to be scholars of their subjects. We think that it is enough if we have good content. We have prepared our lecture very well. We have lots of good ideas over there. And we know our theory. We know it. And all we have to go and just say it in the class. That's all we need to do. So we are basically scholars. We are writers. We are thinkers. We are academicians. That's fine. Of course, we have to be all those things. But out of all the teachers who are scholars, all of them are scholars, all of them are academicians, there'll be one or two who are very popular. How come? Do they give toffees to students? No, they don't do that. They just deliver what they know. They deliver it in a nice manner. They deliver it in a manner that it appeals to the students. They understand it. It is pleasant to their ears. They look forward to attending those sessions, listening to that teacher talk, because that teacher knows how to speak. And in any other profession, take it, any other profession that relies on voice quality or voice or vocal cords or speech organs to earn bread and butter, people pay so much attention. Think of singers. Singers are people who earn their bread and butter or earn their living through singing, using their speech organs. using their vocal cords, and how much time they spend rehearsing for that song. If they have to sing a song in the evening, they will rehearse that at least 5 or 6 times during the day. They get up every morning and they do their riyaz. They take care of their vocal cords because they respect their vocal cords, because it is the vocal cords that is going to help them earn their living. What about us? Today, if I lost my voice, who will give me a job? Think about it. If teachers did not have voices, how could we be teachers? And we never thought about it. We never think about it. We think it's enough to know the subject. We never think that it is even better to be able to speak well. You know, knowing the subject is just one part of teaching. Teaching requires a communication skill about which we have not given any thought. Right? So this is what this session is about, you know. Okay. Looking at both the terms here, pronunciation and articulation. Pronunciation is the act or result of producing the sounds of speech, which includes articulation, stress and intonation, often with reference to some standard of correctness and acceptability. When I say some standard of correctness and acceptability, what I mean is that the standard which is followed by the society, immediate society around you. You see, like Sir said, those who are English teachers or those who are communication skills teachers, they perhaps would want to have an international universal standard of speaking. You know, so you speak English like the English do. That would be, to speak English like English do may not really work in Faridpur, right? Because over there, you will be immediately alienated as somebody who speaks differently. So when I say some standard of correctness and acceptability, what I'm saying is that within the immediate society, you don't want to be alienated. This is not a session for the English teachers. This is a session for all the teachers. So whatever subject you are teaching, it's computer science or economics or philosophy, whatever you are teaching, you should be able to teach it in a manner that the students understand everything and they feel connected, not alienated. Not as if you've come from somewhere else. Oh my God, this teacher has come from England. They should not start thinking like that. They should feel that, okay, he, she, and I are on the same level. We are on the same plane, because this is about communication. This is not about perfect English. This is about perfect speaking. Now, speaking can be in any language. So we should not be so obsessed with the idea of English being spoken like English. English is a language which is so diverse, spread all over the world. And all over the world, people speak it in the manner which suits them. Australians speak their own English. Americans speak their own English. Obviously, British speak their English. Okay, so we have to realize that we are not going to turn into Britishers at the end of this session. We are not doing that. We are just learning to speak. So that is what I mean when I say some standard of correctness and acceptability. Articulation is adjustment and movement of speech organs involved in producing how you use your speech organs, whether it is the glottis or the hard palate, soft palate, your lips or teeth. How are you using these speech organs when you want to speak? Do you even realize which type of sound requires the use of which speech organ? When we use the speech organs incorrectly, we tend to pronounce wrongly. Okay, that's where we go wrong. So all we have to have a very keen sense of hearing. You know, you listen well, you speak well. That's how we learn to speak, right? By listening. Okay, that's where it begins. There is a difference between not being heard, that is being inaudible, and not being understood. That means unintelligible. Sometimes people confuse the two. Now you may think, how can How can one confuse these two things? Inaudible is not being heard. Unintelligible is not being understood. How can both the two things be the same? You might wonder, but think to yourself, when you are trying to explain something to a student and he doesn't understand when you are speaking softly, then you explain again, this time a little louder, and you explain again, this time a little louder, somehow believing that the louder you get, the clearer it is for the person. Now imagine this scenario. It happens all the time. You somehow believe that if I speak loud enough, my student will understand. So what are you doing? You are confusing inaudibility to unintelligibility, which is not true. Your student is just not understanding. He is not deaf. He's just not understanding. So however loud you speak, he will not understand. Okay, so this is a confusion which we don't believe we have, but we do. Okay, somehow we have this confusion. Now this, I'm looking at the speech communication process. Okay, now this you've done a lot of sessions in communication, so you may have already done the communication process. This is more or less same because communication involves speech communication. So if you've done this, it'll be a little bit of repetition. There is the speaker, because that's where the speech starts. Then the message, whatever the speaker has to communicate, whatever he has to say, he says through a message. Then there has to be a channel. Channel could be a language. Channel could be use of an external device such as a mic, or maybe a radio unit, so if you're speaking on the radio or you're speaking on TV, all these would be counted as channels. So they could be different types of channels. Then of course on the other end is the listener. When we do the communication model, it is sender receiver. In speech it is speaker listener. So that's the difference. And of course no communication is complete unless you have feedback. You have to have feedback, and feedback, you already probably know that feedback comes in many forms. It does not necessarily have to be in writing or through speech. Feedback comes through gestures, through eye movements, continuously. So you keep getting feedback continuously as you are speaking. So feedback is very important. And there is interference. We may believe that we are very articulate and very clear, and the message is very sound and spoken in very easy language. Obviously, everybody will understand. Obviously, I have 100% communication. You might believe that. But let me tell you, every communication comes with interference. You can never ever have 100% understanding unless there is a background where a lot of experiences are shared, a lot of memories are there. So you can have perhaps 100%, even then I would say 90-95% of communication. So there is always a barrier. The barrier could be in so many forms. Barrier again does not have to be physical. Barrier or noise, we also call it noise. It can be in so many forms, such as physical. Physical would be if I'm using a mic and the mic is not loud enough. So this is an interference. I'm doing my best to speak. You are doing your best to listen, but the mic is not functioning properly. So this is a physical interference. You could have psychological interference, such as I'm doing my best to speak, but you are thinking about something else. And that something else takes priority over what I'm saying. I can't help it, how much ever I may put into my communication. But if you have a pressing problem, if you have some other issue, something distracting you, then that is noise. In my speech, I have to work harder to help you overcome that. Perhaps I will have to make more and more efforts to help that situation. I could be working well, you could be working well, but there could be a drill in the other room, creating physical noise. So how much ever I shout, you are not able to hear, you're not able to follow, both of us are distracted. So you see, there are so many situations of interference. It can be external, it can be internal, it can be it can be psychological, it can be emotional. You are just not ready to listen to that message. You are emotionally not prepared. So there can be so many things when it comes to interference. There is no message that can be given without or 0% interference. There is always some interference, okay? Then there is the situation, where is the communication happening? Is it in a congenial atmosphere? Is it in a comfortable place? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it noisy? Is it, some kind of situation where communication is not happening properly? So it really varies. And speech also varies. In some locations, you have to speak louder. In some locations, you have to speak in whispers. You have to keep changing your speech and method of speaking depending on the situation. If you are in a cinema hall and a film is going on and you want to say something to your partner, then you will perhaps go close to the ears and whisper. So the whole method of communicating will change. You cannot use your regular pattern of speaking. So situation hampers. So you see, this is the speech communication process. I'll put it in a model here. Sender-receiver model. The sender or the speaker initiates a thought. He prepares a thought. So that means communication begins in the mind first. It begins in the mind. You have to think first. And our parents always told us, think before you speak. Okay? So when we speak thoughtlessly, we skip this first step and then message all gets garbled, right? So think in your mind, prepare the message. When you prepare the message, we call it encoding, because language is a code. It is a code which you and I understand. So we are speaking in English here, assuming that English is the code in this room. It could be Punjabi, it could be Hindi, any other language, whichever is the code of that particular region, you need to understand that. So you encode your thoughts into that code or the language, and then you transmit through whichever channel you think is best, right? Now, when the sender initiates a thought or feeling, encoding it into a message, he or she is exercising his own right to prepare that message, and that he prepares to the best of his own ability. You see, about ability, there could be layers and layers of ability. He could be a very able person to not so able. So there is a whole range of levels of abilities. One is that. Second is the coding. Coding has to be in a language. Now, what is his language skill? So if I have a vocabulary of 150 words, then even the loftiest ideas that I have, the best ideas that I have, very profound feelings that I'm feeling, I have only 150 words for coding. I cannot express them properly because I have only a vocabulary of 150 words. So whatever I feel, I will put it in those 150 words and I'll send across, right? If I have a vocabulary of 1,000 words, then I have many ways of expressing what I'm thinking. But on the other hand, the receiver, he is the one who decodes, right? He takes the message and he decodes it. And when he decodes it, he understands it. Now, if I have a vocabulary of 1,000 words, I encode it beautifully in 1,000 words. And the receiver has a vocabulary of 150 words. What happens then? Then he is unable to decode a lot of my code. पता नहीं क्या बोल रहे हैं, समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. That will be his reaction, because he doesn't know 850 words that I have spoken, because I have a large vocabulary and he has a smaller vocabulary. You see, this is a very mundane example that I'm giving, but vocabulary is one of the things to code. Okay. Similarly, the sender belongs to a certain strata, belongs to a certain group, a certain educational qualification, a certain level of experience. He or she has had some kind of a background, some education, some cultural background from where he or she comes. So he carries all that on his shoulders when he encodes. And these, the growing up feelings, expressions, experiences are all in his mind in forms of layers, you know, they are the filters. Whatever I say goes through all those filters of my lived experience. If you have not had the same experience, then perhaps to understand my code would be a problem. You see? So when a grandfather speaks to a grandchild, he first has to explain to him about what his period was like, and then talk about what it is now, so that there is some common code. You see? So all that. And similarly, the sender is also sitting with all those layers. So he receives the code and it passes through filters and filters of his experiences, education, knowledge levels, IQ, all those things. And he understands. So what have you got from here? Sender receiver seems to be the simplest model. Look, I am sending, you are receiving, and the communication is complete. It appears to be the simplest thing. But now think, I am one person who I think I am. One is this. The second is who I really am. The third is who you think I am. So I am actually three people. Similarly, you are three people. You are who you are. Who are you I think you are? And who are you think you are, right? So when two people are speaking, there are six people in one communication. Now this sender receiver, it is so interchangeable. It's not as if that I'll keep on speaking, you'll keep on listening. When we have a conversation, I'll speak, you'll speak, I'll speak, you'll speak, and it happens so fast. So we keep on changing roles. We keep on changing code. We keep on changing everything that we have. Now this simple model becomes so complicated. Out of the six people, you don't know who is reacting when. You know, I keep speaking to the person I think you are. You keep speaking to the person you think I am. And so there can be a lot of confusions. These confusions are what we call communication gaps. That's why even when we want to have a nice conversation, we end up having gaps. Why do we end up having gaps? If you would understand everything I said, I would understand everything you said, it would be so simple. But it is not simple. All of us have experienced that. So there are some myths about communication. We only communicate when we want to communicate. This is one of the myths. And most people say that. Meri to unse baatcheet hi band hai. We say things like that. I don't want to talk to this person. We say it. But when we say it, we are already communicating a lot. When you cross somebody in the corridor and you don't say good morning, you are already communicating so much to that person without saying a word. Communication is like breathing. Okay? You keep breathing, but you don't realize that you're breathing. Then when the doctor says, gehri saans lo, you realize, oh my God, hum saans bhi lete hain. Because we are not thinking of breathing at all. We keep breathing. Similarly, we keep communicating. And we don't know that we are communicating. We communicate all the time. All the time. Words mean the same to both the speaker and listener. That's not true also. Because I just explained, I will say what I think I want to say. You will hear what you think you want to hear. So it's not as if we talk in dictionary meanings. We don't talk in dictionary meanings. We talk in the way we understand, right? So words may not mean the same to the sender and listener. We communicate chiefly with words. That's also not true. You've just had a session on body language, non-verbal communication. So you know that words are just one form of communicating. Non-verbal communication is silent. That also you know by now that it is not silent at all. It is very, very loud. If you were to go home in the evening and your spouse opened the door and did not talk to you, you would be wondering all the time what they did not say. So it is very, very loud. And you'll keep on saying, Bhai, kuch to bolo, kuch to bolo. You'll keep on saying that because you want them to say something. and not saying can really be very demoralizing for you. So silent is not so silent. Non-verbal is very, very loud. What is this? What do you see in this picture? There's a couple. What do you see, sir?
Nature in the form of water body.
There's a water body. Yes, and there's a couple.
Also there. Some type of forest is also there.
There's a forest, there's a tree. What do you see, ma'am?
Same thing, like again, it's an ocean or something like.
Yeah, there's a river, or yes, and a couple is standing. Okay, now see the larger picture. See the big picture. Do you see a big baby? A big baby. Really big baby. Can you see a baby?
Yeah.
दिख गया baby? आपको दिख गया? Can you see a baby? नहीं? अभी नहीं दिखा? Shall I show it to you? ये हाथ है? ये पैर है? Can you see? This is what I meant when I said, I give a message the way I understand. You see. The medium creates the message creates the meaning creates the context, and the context creates the medium. It's the same picture. Each one of us, based on the context of that particular, whatever your eye has seen for the first time, makes a meaning out of it. This is interference, and this is also communication. You see? So we are going to talk about barriers in communication now. First barrier is misinterpretation. When we intentionally or unintentionally misinterpret what another person is saying. When we are unable to understand what is being said or refuse to understand what is being said. So both could be conscious or at a subconscious level, the misinterpretation. Evaluation of sender is a big barrier because we end up evaluating every sender all the time. You evaluate each and every speaker that comes to talk to you. Students evaluate each and every teacher that stands before them. We tend to evaluate. That is the way we are. And you know how difficult evaluation is. We are teachers. We are used to evaluation. So we know how difficult it is. And when we are evaluating, can we do something else? We cannot. We have to concentrate. So since we evaluate the sender so much, concentrating on the message becomes very difficult. So half of our message is lost because of this process of evaluation. We spend so much time and energy in evaluating the sender. And we do it, and nothing to be embarrassed about. All of us do it all the time. Evaluation. Projection. As teachers, this is something we need to avoid. And this is something which actually hampers our communication process. When we try to project to be something other than what we are. So trying to appear more intelligent, trying to appear smarter than you are, more intellectual. We tend to have that habit, and that immediately the students can make out. Know more than what you really know. Students can make out, or any receiver can make out when we are trying to project ourselves as something else or somebody else. So projection is very bad for communication. Stereotyping. All of us, because of those layers, the layers or the pictures in the head, like I told you, filters that we have, all those filters have created stereotypes in our minds. These stereotypes are the feelings we have about groups of people, people from different regions. We already have a set idea, and we don't want anything to come in dissonance with that idea. So we keep on looking for similarity. For instance, if I say the word politician, you immediately have an image in your mind. And so if I say, I am a politician, you are going to look at me, what kind of politician is she? Lagti to nahi hai politician jaise. You see, what does that mean? When you say she does not look like a politician, what does that mean? You are not matching my idea of politician. Now I have an idea of politician. You have to match that. I have an idea of army man. You have to match that. I have an idea of a teacher. You have to match that. The whole world has to match my idea. If you don't match, I will not trust. I will keep on questioning your identity. Why? Because my ideas are sacrosanct. I am so particular about my stereotypes. You see, and we have stereotypes about everyone. You're from Bihar? Oh, you're this type. You're from Bengal? You're this type. You're from Punjab? You're this type. Again, about region, about class, about caste, about occupations, everything. We have set ideas. Our stereotypes are so deeply conceived, and these are from our growing up years. We have not consciously made them. Let me make this stereotype. It's not like that, Some of them from the media. Now, whatever we have seen of South Indians is from the movies. And so we believe South Indians are like that. Okay, unless we go to South India and we actually meet some South Indians, we keep on believing the characters which our films show us. So something is from the films, from media, from TV, from our school books, from all those things, from our friends, society where we grew up, all those things have added to stereotyping, and all of us are carrying the burden of stereotyping in our minds. And so we have to keep on overcoming that every day. And for that, we have to be really open, the windows of our mind have to be really open to let in new type of people and not clash with our stereotypes all the time. It's difficult, but if you want good communication, then this has to be done. Arrogance and superiority, an attitude that comes with little bit of expertise. If it is reflected in your personality, then you are not going to be a good communicator. If it is reflected, that, okay, I have come, I am an expert, now I'm going to give you information because you don't know anything, I know everything. If I have that aura of arrogance around me, then the audience are immediately going to be repelled by that aura. They are going to be repelled. They don't want to listen to a person who is arrogant, who acts superior. So we have to take care of that. Humility is very, very important in communication. Defensiveness, when we keep on justifying our position, we keep on justifying ourselves all the time. नहीं मैंने ऐसा नहीं किया, नहीं मेरा मतलब ये नहीं था, नहीं ऐसी बात नहीं है. We have a habit of saying things like that. So that does not really work in any communication circumstance. Inarticulateness, then of course we are not speaking properly. Okay, we'll be coming to this a little later. Hidden agendas, when we have some other agenda in the mind, but we are saying something else. When we think that we are so smart, that we are going to get our things done through, our word play, and we know communication so well that the other person will not come to know what is in my mind. I'm very sorry to say that hidden agendas are not hidden. They are quite revealing, and immediately the audience comes to know what you want to say something else, but you're saying something else. They may not know what you want to say, but they will know that you have something else in the mind. You must have heard things like "Kaam ki baat karo," "Mudde pe aao," "Bolo kya kehna chahte ho." You might have heard things like that. You know what that means? They have understood the hidden agenda behind what you were trying to say. So hidden is not so hidden. Status, all of us know, status changes the communication circumstance. Status changes everything. If there is somebody from a very high status over here, let's say if my vice chancellor comes here, then my behavior will totally change. Your behavior will change. All of us will change, and somehow communication situation will totally change. You see? So it is up to the people of higher status to put everybody at ease and let communication flow the way it should. Environment, I already mentioned situation, it's the similar thing. How is the environment? Are you hot or cold, or is it noisy, or whatever? So internal environment and external environment, both the things are there. Similarly, emotions, Emotions are very powerful communication. If you are crying, I know you are sad. So I really don't have to ask you further questions. I don't have to ask you, are you sad? Because you are crying and it is evident, and emotion is so overpowering that, you know, it is just clear to everybody. If you're laughing, it is clear to everybody. But I put it under barriers because emotions are so overpowering that any other conversation during emotions is impossible. So you want to have a rational conversation, a logical discussion, and you are also feeling emotional at the same time. It cannot happen. Because what the other person will think, oh, she's sad. Oh, she's crying. That's all the other person is going to understand. They are not going to look at the message, because your emotional messages, which may be non-verbal, are so overpowering, you know. So it is best to not have a logical discussion when you are emotional, because emotions act as barriers. Differences in background, I already mentioned that a bit. Poor timing, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, speaking too early, speaking at the wrong occasion. All of us have done it. So we really have to think before we speak, because poor timing actually destroys any communication. And obviously personality conflicts. We are all different people. We are all human beings. All of us have a certain personality, and some personalities just don't get along with others. So we have to work harder then in communication in order to reach out to the people who don't get along with us. This is what we can do to improve our speech, meta communication. These are implied messages that go along with our words. So you may be saying the same word, but you may be having a different meaning every time. The same word, which elicits a different response every time. And you'll be amazed. Then you realize that it's not the words. It's not the words at all that communicate your message. For instance, a student walks in late to your class. And so you ask him, why are you late? Okay. So when you ask him, why are you late? He'd say, ma'am, I was late, my car got spoiled or something. He'll give you a reason. Okay, sit down. The student enters the class and then you say, why are you late? It's the same sentence. Why are you late? And why are you late? The sentence is the same. So when I say, why are you late? The student hesitates and says, I'm sorry. Now he does not want to give this person any reason. Okay. The student walks into your class and you say, why are you late today? The student takes 2 steps back and goes out. He does not even want to say, I'm sorry to this person. The same person, same sentence, but said in 3 different manners, will elicit 3 different responses. You see, this is meta communication. This is the communication that you are sending forth along with your words. The words are the same. All I said was, why are you late? And if that student goes out and starts crying and somebody else asks him, why are you crying? He'll say, ma'am scolded. And if somebody asks you, aapne danta? You'll say, maine to nahi danta. Maine to yahi pucha. Why are you late? You see? It's the same sentence. But the tone, manner it is said, the anger which is reflected, we've seen in that sender-receiver model that the receiver assigns feelings and thoughts to your words. So when he receives, he assigns feelings. She is angry. So that is a feeling he has assigned. Maybe you are not angry. Maybe that's your tone in the middle of the lecture because you are disturbed. You're not angry at him. You are disturbed that you are disturbed that the lecture is disturbed. Maybe you don't want him to go away, but it is reflected in your tone. So that's how we have to be very, very careful. And we're going to do exercises on this meta communication a little later. Okay, why are some people more articulate than others? So we are going to do some articulation exercises also a little later. But I'm beginning with the first and the most basic reason why you could be inarticulate. People with poor articulation can sound throaty because their tongue is pulled too far back. Now, this is first physical reason. You may be in the habit of holding the tongue at the back of your mouth. You see, tongue is a muscle. It needs to work. It needs to work efficiently for you to speak. Just as you use other muscles, you use your facial muscles for smiling, you use your hands, you use all these muscles that make us work in the way we want to work. The tongue is also a muscle. So it needs to work properly. If you are not using your tongue efficiently, that's one of the first reasons for inarticulateness. I'm going to read this sentence with my tongue pulled back. Okay? I'm pulling my tongue back into my mouth. People with poor articulation can sound throaty because their tongue is pulled too far back. That's all I did. I didn't change anything. My voice changed, my pronunciation changed, the expression changed, everything changed just because I did not move my tongue in the manner which is supposed to move. That's all. So this is one of the first reasons. Now this could be that maybe the size of the tongue is small. That is one physical thing. The other thing could be that we are conditioned to keep it pulled back. If the size is small, you really can't help. You have to pull your tongue out and see how long your tongue is, right? It has to be front of the mouth when you are sitting down. When you are not doing anything, notice where you keep your tongue. You have never noticed your tongue. And it is one of the most important speech organs. You have never noticed your tongue. You are surviving as teachers because of your tongue. You see? And you never thought about her? Poor thing. She works endlessly. When you deliver 4 lectures a day, it is the tongue, that muscle, which is moving so fast all over the place inside your mouth, continuously. And you never paid attention where it goes, what it does, how much it works. It works so hard. So pay attention to your tongue. When we say mother tongue, we mean language. Do you realize the importance of tongue? When we want to say language, we say mother tongue. Tongue is language. In Hindi, we say zuban. Urdu zuban. Zuban is tongue. Tongue is a physical thing. But we understand. We change it into a metaphor and we call it language. But physically, we really don't pay attention to the tongue. So you may sound muffled because you don't move your tongue enough when you speak. Both these affect our ability to be understood. Articulation refers to actual speech sounds as well as how the sounds are put together to produce syllables, words, and sentences. Make sure your tongue is positioned towards the front of your mouth and that you use your tongue clearly to enunciate your words. Articulation is a physical and muscular activity. Ability to move fluidly and adroitly from one position to another is extremely important for clarity and accuracy. You want to speak well, you should be able to move your tongue really fast from one position to the other, from the other to the next, very quickly. See, when you are learning a new language, think about it. When you learn a new language, what do you say? Zaban nahi palatti. That's what you say. I tried to learn French, but somehow I don't get the accent right. I don't get the pronunciation right because the tongue does not recognize certain sounds and it doesn't know where to hit. It doesn't know. So if you don't have a certain sound in your language, for instance, ja. Ja. You don't have ja. We don't have ja. Do we have ja? But French has ja. So even English has ja. For instance, pleasure. pleasure, measure. We don't have ja, so we say pleasure. Because our tongue doesn't recognize, and the tongue is wondering where to hit. Which part of the speech organ should I contact in order to be able to say ja? Or like in South Indian languages, you have la. So the tongue is wondering, la, la, where do I go? Where do I hit to be able to say la? Because I can only say la. That's all my tongue knows. For instance, in some parts of UP, Bihar, they don't have sha in their language. And so because they don't have sha, they say sa. They have sa, and all the words that involve sha are pronounced with sa. So they say, Saam ko shadi hai. That's how they'll say. So we wonder, why can't they pronounce a simple word like sound like sha? But they don't have sha. The tongue doesn't know. You see, the tongue has to be trained. It has to be trained. So all of us have some letters which we cannot pronounce. Say Singh sir knows certain words in Punjabi which I cannot pronounce at all. Sir has shared with us in previous sessions. There is name of your village, sir?
Yes.
See, per. I cannot pronounce that well because my tongue doesn't know. Right? So there are always certain sounds in different languages which our tongue does not understand. And so we need to be trained. So if I want to pronounce that word properly, pa, then I have to practice. I have to practice a lot in order to get it right. And which is not easy. It requires dedication, to be able to do that. So what do we do now? We begin with this question, which is to ourselves. This is not something which I will be able to tell you or anybody else will be able to tell you. You have to ask yourself, is my articulation up to the standard of my expectations? See, is this the way I want to speak all my life? This is the way I speak. Is this the way I want to continue speaking? Or do I want to change? Now, this is a question each one will have to ask and answer within your own mind. Are there any sounds or sound combinations that need improvement? Again, am I pronouncing all the sounds correctly, or is there some sound which I cannot? I will know, like I know I cannot pronounce pabba properly. So I know that, right? So what is it? Is it ba? Is it sha? Is it a combination? Ksha? Is there something which I'm unable to pronounce? And I will know it best because I'm facing that difficulty in pronouncing it, right? So think of all those sounds and then start preparing to improve on those sounds. First is listen to the sound, and the sound has to be completed. It has to be accurately formed. It has to be completed, and it has to be supported by breath. When I say supported by breath, you realize that we have to exhale to speak. It's a physical thing. You cannot speak while inhaling. That means when you speak, you actually give life to each sound that you make with your breath. You are doing that all the time. Which sound requires how much breath support is up to you. You have to understand that. For instance, sa, ha requires a lot of breath. To say ha, you will give away everything that you have inside just by saying ha, because ha requires all your breath. So you have to take a deep breath and say all the H words, then the S words. These require a lot of breath. Similarly, there are some which require less. You know where to cut. For instance, ta. Ta does not require you to go on and on with breath. So how much breath support for each sound is required, that you have to look at the word and then think and then produce that sound. Phonetics, because a lot of people are interested in phonetics. A little bit I'm discussing over here, not in detail though. It's Greek word phone, which means sound or voice. It's a branch of linguistics. Phonetics is in itself a whole language. We need to understand that. And in order to be able to speak English in a universal standard, in the world standard, we need to apply the phonetic sounds to English to be able to speak in that manner. Okay, so there are three aspects in phonetics: articulatory phonetics, acoustics phonetics, and auditory phonetics. Okay, one by one. Okay, I'll finish here. Articulatory is the way you speak. Acoustics related to the words that you are taking out, and auditory is you listen and you speak. Okay, these are the three aspects. Look at the picture here. This is the picture of the vocal tract, and all these form the speech organs that are required for speaking. Okay, from the lips till the glottis, we need all of them. We can't do without a single one if you want to speak properly. These are the three different types. Articulatory phonetics, study of production of speech with the use of organs of speech by the speaker. Acoustics, subfield of phonetics, which deals with acoustic aspects of speech sounds, how the acoustics affect the sounds. Auditory is a subfield which is concerned with hearing of speech sounds. We hear and we speak, okay? So we have to hear correctly in order to speak correctly. These are the speech organs. One by one: glottis, teeth, tongue, alveolar ridge, hard palate, velum, uvula. These are all the organs that we need for speaking. Look at these. Lips, upper lip and lower lip. These are called bilabial sounds that are produced with the help of lips alone. P, B, M, all these sounds. When lips are held together, sound is produced. Okay. Then we have the teeth and the tongue. Tongue, like I told you, is very important, and where the tongue hits for which sound makes that sound really. So tongue can hit the hard palate for t, d. It can hit the ridge for t, the teeth for t, th, d, you know. So where is the tongue hitting makes tongue and teeth also parts of speech. Alveolar ridge, the hard ridge behind the upper front teeth. This roof of the mouth, the hard palate, which is at the back. Talu jise kehte hain hum Hindi mein. Soft palate, which is at the back, which actually gives direction to our sound. Responsible for closing off the nasal passage during the act of swallowing, so that when we are speaking and eating, sometimes we make this mistake. When we are speaking and eating, we end up coughing, you know. So that's where it happens, the error. This is uvula, the loose part which is hanging at the end of the soft palate. And glottis, which is over here, the sound box, as they say, the voice box. It is from here that we produce g, kh, g sounds. Phonetic transcription is visual representation of speech sounds, just as you have alphabets. Alphabets are also visual representation of language. So when we write A, B, C, D, we are actually somehow coding the language into alphabets. Similarly, there is a code for the sounds, and that is known as the transcription. There are three types. Vowels. Vowels are those sounds which do not have any obstruction of airflow. So it's directly from the sound box. A, E, I, O, U, where tongue, teeth, everything are not interfering in the production of the sound. So those are vowels. Consonants, where there is obstruction. So when we want to say ka, something interferes with the direct flow. Ta, tha, where tongue is moving and hitting other parts. So there is obstruction in airflow. Diphthongs are complex. They are combination of sounds like I. A and E both, where you have AI or IE. You know, so these are combinations which are complicated sounds. It's not just one sound, 2 or 3 sounds mixed together. They are called diphthongs. AI, like in bite, bite. Okay, so we say ba, it, that way. And each sound will have a code. That's why in English, we need one language for the understanding of language and another language, which is phonetics, for understanding the sound of English. Okay. These are some examples of diphthongs I've given here. Tie, buy, height, night. Now, all of them are spelt differently. Tie, buy, height, night, but all of them have the sound I, right? Way, paid, gate. All of them spelled differently, but pronounced similar. Wear, hair, care, where the sound is air. Okay. Here, beer, beer. Okay. So the sound is changing. A sound is same, spelling is changing. Okay. In phonetics, you have one symbol for one sound, which could be used for many words, because spellings may change, meanings may change, but if the sound is same, then you write it in this symbol. Okay, and this importance of this phonetics is that you can apply it to any language, not just English. You can apply the same transcript to Hindi in order to pronounce. You know, you can use the same symbol and say IE in Hindi. We have the same sounds. Human speech organs can only take out certain number of sounds, and so all of them can be transcribed through phonetics. There are some more symbols. These are all the symbols. Okay. So this is a whole language. On the left side are the symbols. On the right side is the sound. You can see. Pat, bat, tap, dam. Look at this. You have to switch that off, please. These are more symbols. All of them are symbols. This is a whole language where all the symbols are available online. You want to study, you can actually download symbols and apply them to words and use phonetics. Okay, but here it's not just about phonetics what we are discussing here. How to be more articulate. Then watch yourself in the mirror, watch yourself while speaking. What we do is we listen to ourselves from the inside, and the acoustics from the inside is different from the outside. Okay, we never listen to us like the other people hear us. So obviously when I start talking, I will do my best. I don't want to go somewhere and sound bad. I don't want to be the worst speaker. I want to be a good speaker. And in my mind, I am speaking well. Okay. All of us are. When we go and teach a class, we are doing our best. But have we ever heard how people hear us? That's totally different from how we speak, right? Because in our mind, we are speaking well, but we may be very fast. We may not be having right pauses. We may have bad pronunciation, and we won't even know unless we hear ourselves from the outside. That means we need to record our speech and listen to ourselves. So do this exercise for me. Today, go and record a paragraph. Read aloud a paragraph, record it on your mobile, put on your earphones and go for a walk. Listen to yourself. When you listen to yourself, you will realize all the errors, all the problems that you have in your speech. Oh God, this is where I went wrong. Oh God, I'm speaking so fast. You will realize that when you hear it, like your students hear you or other people hear you. Okay. Reading aloud. Reading aloud is another thing I recommend for anybody who wants to improve their speech, because when you're reading in your mind, tell me the truth, when you're reading in your mind and you come across a difficult word, what do? You skip it. You skip that word. And you have to be truthful here. Very few of us will carry a dictionary and read the pronunciation of that word and then pronounce it. What most of us do is we leave the word. Anyway, we are able to understand the sentence. So might as well move to the next word. This is what we do when we are reading in our mind. But when you are reading aloud, it's very difficult to skip. You cannot skip a single word. So you have to practice reading aloud. And if you have children, make them practice reading aloud for some time at least, so that all the words are pronounced and new words are learned in that manner. And also we learn where to stop, because I know people who read novels, even comics, in a very bland manner. They don't read dialogues like dialogues. They just read, so where are you going? I'm going to the market. What will you do today? They read like that. But when you read aloud, you can't read like that. You will read every question mark. You will read every exclamation mark. Then you will read it in this manner. So where are you going? I'm going to the market. Oh, really? Do you want to go to the market? Now that is the way you will start reading if you are reading aloud. In your mind, you will be, oh, really? Do you want to go to the market today? It is very late already. You will be reading like that. So there is a difference in the way you read in your mind and the way you read aloud. So you have to read aloud as much as possible. Check with a good listener. If somebody is ready to listen to you, that's fantastic. But if there's nobody, then please record and listen to yourself. A good way to improve one's delivery of normal phrases is to practice on difficult ones. What are these difficult phrases? Tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are those phrases which as children we have practiced. We are, all of us know some tongue twisters or the other, and we do observe children, even now practicing on tongue twisters. That's the best exercise for articulation, best exercise for your tongue, because the tongue gets to move quickly from one word to the other. And tongue twisters are formed of words that are complex, sounds that are difficult to bring out. You know, like in she sells, you have sh, sir, together so many times that it really jumbles up in your language when you're speaking. In Betty Bot, you have butter so many times. So it becomes complicated. So if anybody wants to try one of the tongue twisters, you want to try? Madam? Anybody? Anybody in the class? Yeah? Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic. That's very nice. That's very nice. Huh? Lal Ghoda, Pila Ghoda. It's a very tough one and you've done it very well. So you might be having some more of your own. You know, some tongue twisters which are not here, but which are there in your language, part of your childhood, your growing up. Just practice on them at least twice a day. When you are driving to work, just say some of them. It exercises your tongue. Okay, you can do that. How to deal with a tongue twister? Start slowly, carefully. You have to look for pauses. Natural pauses. The pauses where you need to breathe. Most of our reading or speaking goes wrong when our pauses are unnatural. So just take a pause wherever you want to breathe. Don't worry so much about where should I pause, or should I pause or not, or where the other person is pausing. The other person may be having a different pattern. They may need lesser breath or more breath for a particular part of a sentence. So you realize what do you need, what is your optimum breath you need for a certain section. So in the tongue twister, pauses are very important. Where are you pausing to breathe? Okay, so learn that. For instance, she sells, and then you relate it with the meaning. She sells seashells on the seashore, but the shells she sells are seashells for sure. Now I have divided this sentence according to my comfort levels, and then I'll speak it. She sells seashells on the seashore, but the shells she sells are seashells for sure. She sells seashells on the seashore, but the shells she sells are seashells for sure. She sells seashells on the seashore, but the shells she sells are seashells for sure. So I'll keep on increasing the speed, but I will not change my pauses, because those pauses work for me. So you keep on practicing like that and you can get any tongue twister right. Each word, each sound should be crisp. Keep on repeating faster and faster. Keep maintaining clarity. If you trip, don't stop. Continue. This is the best exercise that you can do for articulation. This is what we learned in our childhood. And later when we had children, we learned it again. The Hindi swar. Yeah. You see this? These are the vowels of Hindi, where no obstruction when you are reciting them. There is no obstruction in the airflow. A, e, u, a, o, ah. No obstruction at all when you are reciting or speaking or pronouncing them. Now, this is the beauty of Hindi, that you can apply any consonant to any vowel and the sound is permanent. As in English, you have to learn. You have to learn the sound separately in phonetics. You have to learn the language separately as in alphabets and words. In Hindi, the alphabets and the words are the phonetic codes. This is so amazing. And for us who are teachers of languages, teachers of subjects other than English language. I'm not a teacher of English. I'm just a teacher of communication, right? So since I teach communication, I don't want to use phonetics all the time in my efforts to pronounce properly. What I do is I use Hindi, because Hindi is a phonetics language which I already know. Okay, so apply pa to a. It becomes pa. Whenever you apply a to pa, it'll always be pa. It'll never be pa, it'll never be pa, it'll never be po, it'll always be pa. Okay, so when you apply choti e to pa, it'll always be pi. It'll never be anything else. So wherever it is written, when choti e is applied, that is the phonetic code to pronounce it as pi. Not e, not pu, not pe, it does not change. Okay, this is the complexity in English. When you use a, you may be saying bat, you may be saying bad, or you may be saying came, where the pronunciation of a might change totally, because it is not the pronouncing code. It is just the language code. Pronouncing code will be given in phonetics. Okay, on Hindi, both of them come together. That is why I'm using Hindi here. If we don't want to really start learning phonetics as a language, then we already know Hindi. Ka, kha, ga, gha. This again, these are the vyanjans, these are the consonants of Hindi. Now the amazing part here, that all of them use different speech organs in the manner in which they are placed. Our phonetics begins with ka, kha, ga, gha, where we use the glottis. These are the sounds that come out from glottis. So we don't have to actually learn bilabial sounds. We don't have to learn those sounds separately, because our sounds are placed in such a manner in Hindi script. Ka, kha, ga, gha. All of them coming from here. Then when the tongue touches the hard palate, cha, cha, ja, ja. Right? You have to try this. Say it with me. Ka, kha, ga, gha. Touch here and see the sound is coming from here. Ka, kha, ga, gha. Cha, cha, ja, ja. Now see, you feel as if the tongue is touching in the same place, but it is, it is producing a different sound. When the tongue is pointed and touches on the palate, ta, tha, da, dha. They are placed in this manner that all the sounds which require tongue to be pointed are placed in this one line. Ta, tha, da, dha. When the tongue touches the teeth, dante, okay, the tongue touches the teeth, ta, tha, da, dha. The whole line is like that. Ta, tha, da, dha. The bilabial sounds, pa, pa, ba, dha. when the two lips are used. Pa, pa, oshte. They're called oshte. Okay? So, starting from the throat till the lips. That's how it is placed in Hindi. So, this is the phonetics of Hindi. हाँ वो ये कंठव्य तालव्य मूर्धन्य दंतीय. Yeah. So this is so exciting that we can easily write whatever words are difficult for us to pronounce in English. We can write them in Hindi and we are able to pronounce. And I use it very often. I use it all the time when I have to pronounce difficult names or something like that. Okay. Hindi is highly phonetic. I already told you that, and strong contrast with English because of this this ability. Even then, certain sounds are absent. Certain sounds are difficult to produce. So those who are native speakers of Hindi may have a problem with these sounds in English, such as said, the a sound, which we have a and we have I, or a. We don't have this in between said. So we may have a problem there. Similarly, paw. So this aw sound, which is neither o nor aw, it is somewhere in between. We may have a problem there. Then the wa sound, wa, like you were saying, wa sound, wa. So when we have to say what, we end up saying what, because we have ver and we have bur. Ver, bur. Were, we don't have. So what, when, where, how, what, when, where is tough for us. So we say what, when, where, because we have wa, we don't have wa. So wet, wet and wet are two different things. So we'll say wet for both. The floor is wet. The floor is actually wet. Wa. So these kind of problems we may have because we just don't have that sound. Okay. Then th. Th is, the sound of th changes from word to word. When you say this, it is the. When you say thing, it is the. When you say months, it's the. The sound changes totally. Okay. Use of s as in pleasure, I already mentioned that, is different. Then some clusters, some sound clusters such as str, str. Str, we don't have. We don't have this combination at all, str. So we don't know how to pronounce it. And so what we do is we say straight, because we are not able to say str, straight. Okay. LM together, film. We have in Urdu, we have zulm, ilm. But in Hindi, we don't have. We don't have. So we say film. You see, that's why the sounds that we don't have, the tongue doesn't know. I already said that. Then the stress. In English, stress keeps changing from one word to the other. So like I was taking a session somewhere else and this participant asked me, all my life I kept on saying petrol, petrol, and just yesterday I came to know that it is petrol. The stress changed. So she says, how do I know that I'm speaking properly? Because I keep speaking in some manner and then somebody comes and tells me, no, it is not like this, it is like this. So all I have to say is that there'll always be some mother tongue influence. Unless all of us have studied phonetics properly, we will be pronouncing some words incorrectly. So it's a learning process. We learn every day. So it's okay. You learn today, it's okay. We'll learn some more tomorrow. So we will keep learning and evolving because all of us are not experts in the language or experts in the pronunciation of the language. But we never ever go wrong in the pronunciation of our mother tongue. This is a foreign language which we are learning. We are learning from the capability of our teachers. We are learning from our own capability, from wherever we have heard, our surroundings, the stereotypes. We are learning from everywhere. So that's how we evolve, right? Photograph. But when the person who clicks the photograph is called as not photographer, he is called as photographer. You see, the stress changes to to instead of for. So likewise, economics, economy. So there are so many such words where the stress changes. Then there are some silent letters. This is also a common problem with English, that the silent letters, the letters are there in the spelling, but they are not pronounced. So a new learner can have these problems also. It's very common with K and P, presence of K and P in so many words. But there are other words such as tomorrow. You see tomorrow, where T, ta, is not pronounced in the manner that we know how to pronounce T. Because you think of our t, th, d, dh, how hard they are. Ta, tha, da, dha. We don't have ta. We don't have that sound. So we say tomorrow. We say ta because that's how we know how to pronounce da. So we'll say tomorrow, but it's tomorrow. Ta, ta. This sound we don't have, you know. So that's how intelligent, remember, remember. We don't say remember, you know. So that's how it goes. That's where they face a problem. Then sentence formation. In Hindi, it's subject, object, verb. In English, it's subject, verb, object. Look at this example. Ram Pathshala gaya. Now I just translate into English. I'm a native Hindi speaker and my sentence formation is subject, object, verb. So I'll say Ram school went. Ram school goes or something like that. And I will think it is correct. Because what have I done? I have translated each word and used them in my own sentence formation style, which is in my language. But it is different here. It is subject, verb, and then object. Ram went to school. So this whole concept of translating from one language to the other requires more than just the knowledge of both the languages. We have to understand the syntax, we have to understand the grammar, and everything that goes along with it.